Okay, let's go.
Hello there, Sister Wives, watchers, and chick chatters. We are coming back with the Sister Wives. I guess this is the look back. It's a little bit different from the talk back, but they're having every individual cast member on the confessional couch reacting to some older clips, and the couch is huge. And I guess I never realized how big this couch is. It could fit the whole damn Brown family on it. Seeing it zoomed back and seeing the whole couch, I'm like, wow, they really got a whole huge sectional for one person to sit on at a time and talk about stuff. Crazy. And it's not even for everybody. Christine's in a whole different room now. Now
He's in a whole different state.
Yeah, it's crazy. But they start showing some clips from the first season, talking about how Cody was in love with his wives and how he fell in love with all of his wives. I fell in love, and then I fell in love again, and then again. And then Mary is like, and then he fell out of love again, and then again, and then again. And I literally cackled. I was dying.
It was so funny. Like, I really, really enjoyed these look backs a lot more than the talk back. In these ones especially, it's like watching them look at like a family photo album. They're all reacting to the way that they looked and how like small the kids were and things like that. Cody says that they look terrible, and the producers are like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I don't know, we're just naive and blah blah blah." This is, I think, where Mary says something about her hair, or Cody says something about the hair, and again, it's like we are just shading this old hairstylist because it was bad.
Yeah, they even zoomed in on Mary's.
I know, it was so like, meow.
Meow.
And Cody was like, meow.
They get into Cody describing all of his weddings. He said that his wedding with Mary was this big fancy affair that he didn't even want to leave because so many people like came in from out of town and people he haven't seen in a while. He says that Janelle had like a really chill thing because she was kind of switching from one faith almost to another. So a lot of people didn't come to support that. So she had a very small, intimate wedding. And that with Christine, it was just so much pressure and he just should have dated her longer. I'm like, okay.
And it seems like Christine kind of planned the wedding herself. I think we talk a little bit more about that later when we get into the dress situation. He says that there was just too much pressure and everything went way too fast. But ultimately, he does express gratitude for the memories that they have and the life that they live together because they do have 6 kids. So it's a good thing that he does that.
So then they show the kids actually reacting to Robyn entering the family and them announcing it and all of their excitement and whatnot. And everyone's kind of like smiling as they watch back that clip. And then they play this other clip of Robyn talking about Cody being her soulmate. And Mary's like, do I really got to watch this?
Because I know.
Like, he's my soulmate, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, we should have known then, huh? You can only really have like one soulmate, I think.
It seems now that it was obvious to everybody that whatever was going on between them was different. I mean, soulmates, whatever you want to call it, twin flames.
Then Cody, after he's done watching it, he's like, well, I finally fell in love. That was a great time in my life. I'm like, bro.
I know. He's ridiculous.
Can we stop with this? It's like, you've already stabbed these women. It's like you constantly turn a knife in the kidney.
Man!
It's like a knife in the kidney.
Just a knife in the kidneys.
Then they go to Christine, and Christine said that they kind of felt like she was equal with Mary and Janelle when it was just the 3 of them, that they all had this equal love. But then Robyn came in and things started to feel a little bit less equal. Cody is just kind of annoyed because everybody was complaining about that. That it just felt a little less equal. You understand as a polygamous man anyways that there's going to be jealousies and resentments and things like that that happen. Isn't that part of your religion? Isn't that part of your faith in general? You know that that's part of it. It's been going on since probably you brought Janelle in, right? So why is that such a thing?
And Janelle, this is where she makes that big point that when a husband takes in another wife, that it's on him to learn to expand his capacity and to not diminish the other wives. So if the other wives are going through emotions, you're not supposed to diminish them. You're supposed to expand your capacity to love them and have a relationship with all of them. I understand that that's probably not an easy thing to do, but that is what they all agreed to attempt to do.
And he did, because in the clip, they show him saying that he's in love with Robyn when he's right next to her, but he's also in love with his other wives. Then they kind of show him today, and he's like, well, I was just trying to affirm that to myself. I was just telling myself that. And the
Yeah,
world, apparently.
he said he was like love vomiting or something. I don't know if this is the exact part, but yeah, he says that he was trying to affirm it so much he called it love vomit.
And as Mary says, then were you lying then or were you lying now? Because it don't make no sense. And honestly, if he was lying then, I would be way more upset because he wasted what 20, 30 of y'all's years. Y'all could have been doing your own thing. Mary could have had other kids with somebody else. There's just so many things that he kind of stopped these women from doing, and not even just in the relationship front, right? Some of these women, like Janelle, might have went to school. They just might have went down different paths and believed in themselves a little bit more instead of pining for this man that isn't going to come around because he found his Robyn. Like, what?
I know.
But I agree with Mary. She thinks that he's just trying to justify where he's at right now with all of this, and that's where I stand too. I just think he says a bunch of crap, so this way it justifies him leaving all of his other wives, because we can all say that the wives left, but Cody literally left them first. He emotionally abandoned them first, and to the point where they all left, including Christine. He told Christine, I do not want to be intimate with you anymore. And that's when Christine was like, all right, whatever, I'm done. But how long did it take to get to that point? You know, she went through a lot of years of him emotionally and physically, it seems like, abandoning her.
Christine says something kind of confusing here. She talks about Cody didn't date Robyn or bring her into the family until they all agreed that it was the right time and that they were all on board. I guess, I don't know, I'm a little confused. I don't know if you are. For some reason, I thought that it was said at some point that there was some secret or something going on between Mary and Cody that brought Robyn in. So I don't know. I know we were talking earlier, but I don't know if like both things can be true in some way, and that it was a secret at first and then they all agreed and then he started courting her, or if someone's rewriting history here again, which is,
Right.
a classic Brown family tradition. I don't know.
Well, that's what I think. I think that it started off like as Mary. I believe it was Mary that said it was like a nice little secret between her and Cody was Robyn for a while. I mean, she scouted her. And I believe Mary scouted all of the wives because she was the first wife. I believe that's something that normally the first wife does. To me, I kind of think that maybe Christine thought she knew at the beginning, but maybe she didn't see Mary ever say that it was a secret between them. Maybe they came to Janelle and Christine at one point and announced it, and they kept that secret to themselves. I don't know, but it does seem a little off that I truly remember, and maybe another chick chatter can help me, but I truly remember there being a conversation with either it was Cody and Mary or just Mary where it was said that Robyn was like a nice little secret for them, and it kind of bumped up their marriage for a little bit because they had this like little secret Robyn in a cage waiting to fly.
Cage.
Yeah, they get into if Cody loved everybody or not. And Christine says she felt like Cody loved her and she wouldn't have married him if she didn't. I don't know. Cody really wants to gaslight all of us, but that's true. Why marry somebody if you feel like they don't love you and they're only doing it to get polygamous clout? Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. And then Robyn pops up and acknowledges that she knows that it's destructive of the family to have favoritism. And she says if she would have noticed even a hint of that, that she would have backed away and not joined the family. Again, I mean, I'm sure that she didn't notice that. Like, she didn't live with them. She was pretty far removed from them even after getting married. She didn't live with
Mhm,
them in that big house ever.
mhm.
She's never lived with them ever.
And she also said at one point too, like, if any of those wives would have came to Cody and told them that they didn't want Robyn in the family, that it wouldn't have happened. I don't even think that's true. Once he said he saw Robyn, he fell in love with her. So I don't think that they were just going to easily get rid of her just by saying, I don't want her around. In fact, I think Christine is one of the people who did say, I don't really want to expand the family just yet.
I just listened to a podcast that Christine was on. It's called like Juicy something. But she talks about that time when Robyn did join the family, that I guess they were for several years considering courting another wife. And Christine does say that she was the one who was least on board, but that she did go along with meeting a couple of other people, that Cody was actually engaged to somebody else before he was engaged to Janelle, and that Christine was friends with them at that point and didn't like the girl that he was engaged to before Janelle, and I guess she decided at that point, if he marries this other girl, I'm not gonna marry him. And then he called it off with the other girl, not knowing anything about Christine, like about her opinion. And then she was like, okay, I guess I can marry him because he ended up marrying Janelle. So then a year later, that's when she joined the family. That is one of the things that I learned in the podcast. So I guess it is maybe worth listening to.
And they play clips of Robyn planning the wedding. In this clip, Robyn is talking about how she didn't want to leave any of her sister wives out. She wanted them very involved in the planning. And Christine said that was definitely above and beyond for Robyn, that she didn't have to do that. And in fact, Christine didn't do that when it came to her own wedding. They get into that too. Mary says that when Janelle and Cody got married, her and Janelle went and got like semi-matching dresses. Like they at least had the same aesthetic going on. She felt like she was more involved, and that with Christine, they felt more like guests. I mean, it's also seemed like though Christine's wedding looked like it was in somebody's garage. So I don't know.
A garage, a basement, some kind of like storage container, like really looked rough. But Cody talks in this episode somewhere about when he was getting married to Christine, he had already had 2 wives and like he set a family, but they didn't have any
Yeah.
kids at that point. But he was living further away. So Christine had planned the wedding herself. And I know that she was fairly young, I think like 18 or 19. I'm sure she just had no idea what she was doing. Plus, it was also common to have a really small wedding when you're like a plural family. She also never thought to include her sister wives in the plans. So
Probably like you said, it was just because it was just a simple day. You know, if she had planned a big shindig like Robyn, she might have done more with her other sister wives, made them bridesmaids, or whatever the case is. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. She was young. She probably didn't even have money to think about it.
seems like she was friends with Mary and Janelle beforehand because it seems like they were all friends through their religion, but they weren't a unit yet. So I could see how it didn't occur to her that maybe she should include them more. And Robyn even says, she doesn't say explicitly that she wouldn't have thought to do it, but she gives her mom props and says, my mom is the one who told me I should include my sister wives because she was unintentionally left out in her sister wives' weddings, and that made her feel bad. So she said she didn't want to start the life off like that. I thought that that was nice. Then we get to the scene about Cody revealing to everyone that he picked the wedding dress out for Robyn. Because that same day that they all go and pick out their matching dresses, Robyn also like does some dress shopping. I don't know if they decided on a dress altogether for Robyn to wear that day or if they just picked some favorites out or whatever. But either way, I think it's strange for a groom to pick out a wedding dress. Almost even like controlling. Not
Well,
always, but it could
it
be.
definitely it sounded that way because Cody said he knew exactly what he wanted her to wear from the
Yeah.
beginning, and he wanted to be involved. And he was upset that the sister wives even went shopping without him.
The way
What?
he said it too, he's like, the fact that my wives would go look at dresses without me. It's like dresses without you. Like you do you hear yourself right now? You didn't even want to sell jewelry for your family business because you're like, I can't be seen selling jewelry. But you need to go look at dresses.
And the thing is the dress is usually like bad luck for the groom to see. And maybe that's why everything's going downhill because Cody saw that dress, he picked that dress out, and now everything went to crap. Maybe that wasn't wrong to think that if the groom's there to see the dress before the wedding, it might not be the best idea. But I know for sure when I got married, I didn't show Dean a thing of the dress, not a photo, didn't let him know
Right.
where the store location was. I kept
Yeah,
that
that's
dress
what I'm
far
saying.
from
They
him.
probably took even more precaution to make sure he didn't see the dress and to like bring him to the damn place and have him pick it out. How
Yeah.
strange. So then Cody talks about how this whole dress thing stirred up some kind of irrational jealousy in Christine. It's like that is not irrational. Christine made a wonderful point in that scene from way back that Cody didn't care what her dress looked like. He could have cared less what her dress looked like. And I felt really bad for her. And then it cuts to Christine and she talks about how that was a really hard day and that that was one of the days that she realized that Cody was more in love with Robyn than he was with her on their wedding days and that that broke her heart.
I mean, he let her get married in a damn garage storage container and he's giving Robyn the whole nine and picking out her dress. I would feel a way too. That's not a rational jealousy.
And Robyn denies that anyone did anything wrong there.
But Mary says that she felt similar to Janelle because Janelle in the clip said, I wasn't attached to any of these dresses or anything, but it's kind of like, well, then why did we go out and do all this if you were just going to bring Cody and have him pick out the dress? Like, that was like a waste of the day. And what was the point of all that? And Mary said she felt very similar to that. Like, what was the point if you were just going to go behind their backs? And it seems like Robyn never has to answer for this for some reason. Like, did they not ask her?
She says she didn't do anything wrong.
That's all we get, is that she didn't do anything wrong, that her and Cody didn't do anything wrong. It seemed like she wanted two different experiences at the time that she wanted
She did.
to
Well, I think that
away
was
from.
actually her intention, because even in the original clip, she looks like she's just upset with Cody a little bit, and she looks at Cody and says, "This is not something that I wanted him to share with you guys because I wanted to preserve both experiences." So I think the issue is the sister wives thought that they were giving real input. And if she would have just been honest and said, "I already have a dress in mind, but wouldn't it be fun for us to try some on?" That would have at least been a more real experience.
She made a big deal about involving them in the first place for them to then feel uninvolved and kind of a slap in the face. Like, you might as well just did all this with just Cody anyways.
I mean, I guess to put a point on Robyn's side, part of that day was also all the sister wives choosing their own dresses that kind of matched the whole theme of the wedding too. So maybe Robyn was just putting more emphasis on that part and then like didn't really think about how much the sister wives thought they were being involved in her own dress. Either way, I could totally see why everybody was upset about it, and I don't know why Robyn can't at least just try to see that perspective. Maybe I made a mistake. It wasn't my intention, but I obviously hurt people's feelings.
Well, and it just goes to show too, like, she wanted to keep those two experiences separate and secret. Well, how much of their life has been that? How it's kind of shows like Robyn might be a little low-key two-faced.
The rings too, right? She's always had this separate secret special ring with Cody and all this stuff lately too, like when Mary noticed the ring and all of that, and they were just all buttoned up, and all of a sudden Robyn wants to be like, "Well, let's talk about why you want to talk." Like, so no, I think that that's a really good point. There probably is quite a bit of their life that they keep to themselves.
And that's kind of shady in a plural marriage, especially if you're going to start it off that way. You're going to start your wedding off like that.
This is where Janelle says maybe that was the beginning of the favoritism, and maybe that was a sign that she should have been like kind of looking in that direction. And then Cody kind of goes off on a tangent a little bit in this moment. He says that it wasn't fair to anybody, the whole situation. He says that the struggle that he has is that he feels like him and Robyn gave up their special day basically because they like over included the sister wives. He says that he's sick of getting the accusation that Robyn's the favorite and that she didn't change the work I was doing in other marriages. I made sure to quote that.
Cody was able to have a big celebration with Mary because she was the first wife. And according to plural marriages, like, that's kind of how it starts. He marries Janelle in the living room, and then he marries Christine in the freaking garage. Robyn should have got a basement wedding. I mean, like, she didn't need to have a whole big shindig. The fact they even had that should have been a great enough day for them in general. This whole dress thing didn't ruin anything. Robyn got the day she wanted. She got professional photos and all these types of things. Christine has like 2 photos. It looks like taken on a Android phone of 1990. It's in a garage, and she looks like she's wearing a balloon. What are you talking about?
I don't like Christine's dress choices. I don't think I like her current wedding dress either.
I think it's a lot better than her original one, and I will give it to her that it was like different times and she was heavier set, so she probably felt comfortable in that. But I really just felt like, like, there's so many different styles that could accentuate the waist, or just there's so many other things, and she just kind of looked like a big.
I just don't like that style, I think, in general. Not like judging her, just for me.
Mary's dress was like a big poofy 90s dress, but like, it accentuated something. Like, it looked
the big
nice.
poofy 90s hair. I mean, that, or 80s hair. That was like 80s, I think.
It goes with the times, but even Christine's dress at the time, for the times, like, for me, it just felt like Cody could have helped her pick out something nice. So they cut to this scene back at the dressing where Christine is telling Cody that they expect better from him, that he was chosen by them and all this stuff. And Robyn's eyes get wide, but I'm sitting here like, Robyn, you have the same side conversations with him all the time. Don't act like you're shook by what, like, oh, wow, she's kind of being a little.
I noticed that too. And I thought the same exact thing. I'm like, I have heard Robyn use almost those same exact words with Cody. The whole, this is what you signed up for and you're capable and blah, blah, like kind of giving the strange pep talk thing going on. I wondered, because I had that same thought. I'm like, does she have that face because maybe that's where she learned how to talk to Cody like that? Like, is she realizing, like, this is where I figured it out? Because he just responded so, like, okay, yes, Christine. Like,
Yeah.
that's Robyn now too.
I think that that's maybe where she got it, but I think her face was more like, oh, she's being a little much there. That's the vibe I was getting. But I'm like, Robyn, you do the same damn thing. In fact, you do
She
it a
does.
lot more. You look at this man and gaslight him. Mary said to him, oh, I know you don't feel like you're in a marriage with me. And Robyn's like, well, we disagree about that. And it's
I
like,
know.
girl, let him have his feelings. They're crazy, but let him have them.
It's his marriage with Mary, not yours. The next scene is the move. It's when they all have to hurry up and get out of Lehigh. So they all have to get out of the single house and then Robyn's kind of separate house. They show the circle prayer situation. Christine, she says that the circle prayer was their best asset. And Mary kind of agrees. She says that they quit huddling together a long time ago. Janelle also chimes in and says that Cody used to be very regimented with the family about prayer and that they would all pray together every night, which is also something that they don't do anymore. I didn't hear any blame towards anybody, but it just sounds like, I mean, I guess maybe Cody stopped leading the family in the religious aspect, and I know that that's kind of a cornerstone of that plural marriage, is that the dad is the, like, religious leader of the family, so I guess he would be leading those circle prayers.
Well, it seems like when they split into different houses too, it probably got more difficult to have like everybody come together. Because I'm sure before they just call from different parts of the house, like, hey, Christine's kids, hey, Jenna's kids, hey, Mary's kids, we're meeting in Mary's living room. So they get to these clips where Robyn's announcing her pregnancies. The first one was Solomon, and they kind of over dramatized it. Like now that I watched that clip back, like, yeah, a couple teenagers didn't really say much of anything, but they're teenage boys. Like, what did you want them to do? Like jump up and down and be like, oh my god, yay. No, they're literally teenage boys. And Janelle said watching it back, like the teenagers are kind of like, wow, there's enough kids. And there's like 18 kids or 15 plus kids at this point. So
I'm sorry, but they were homeless at this point. They had just packed all their stuff up, moved all under duress in a hurry to a completely different state, a completely different city. They had nowhere to live at this point. They had kept telling them before they actually secured the land on the cul-de-sac, and even then it wasn't, all sure until the builders built the stuff. But they kept telling them, like, oh, we're going to get this house and then we're going to get these houses over here, and all these things kept falling through. And now all of a sudden you're adding a new baby to this. I think anyone with a rational brain, and teenagers are far from rational, would think, like, what the hell? Like, could you just wait a minute? We don't have anywhere to live. And they were having such a problem finding somewhere to live because they were trying to find one house still. Not that everyone needs a bedroom, but I mean, you need more space, and they already could not find that.
No, you're right. And of course, Robyn and Cody took it so personally. And Cody is going as far as to say that nobody accepts Solomon, like, to this day. But let's remember, there is a pretty big age gap between Solomon and most of his siblings. I mean, I'm sure they play with them and stuff, but how far can you go with it? He's what, like 10 now or 11 or something? And most of these kids are in their 20s and having their own kids. So I don't think it's that Solomon wasn't accepted. I just think that they outgrew the house and they're not as around Robyn and her kids and stuff. So there's just not much of a relationship there because of also a huge age gap. I mean, that's just going to happen. In these clips, though, she also announces the second pregnancy, and she was very pleased to see all the excitement that time around. But like you said, at this point, it seemed like they were in the cul-de-sac established and okay to bring on another kid. And maybe that's why a lot of the reactions were different. Then she also brings up Mary's challenges with finding out about other pregnancies. So then you want her to announce yours.
Yeah. I think Robyn was trying to, like, trick the family into thinking that Mary was about to make the pregnancy announcement so that they were all already pre-excited and they couldn't just be like, oh,
The thing that I've noticed, I don't know if I see another YouTuber say this or something, but it seems like Robyn in those seasons when Mary seemed upset about either pregnancies or anything to do with a pregnancy or a baby, Robyn loved to like bring it up all the time. And she had like a fetish for it or something, like bringing up Mary's challenges with pregnancies.
Literally hours after delivering Solomon, while Mary's holding him for the first time, she's like, I want to give you a baby. And she literally said, I want to ask her while she's good and emotional. It's like coercive almost. I think all women who've had children that have grown up into not little tiny babies anymore, when they hold a baby, they're always like, oh, I want another one, even if they don't actually want another one. I just thought that it was yeah, like, coercive and almost yeah, like, throwing it in her face, like, "Look what I can do that you
Yeah.
can't do." So, the next clip is about Cody working on relationships, so it pops into, like, several different dates that he has with the wives, which is also an episode that I've watched recently, like, in the last couple of weeks. The first one is Mary, and they go on, like, a little hiking adventure. I think most of these are kind of, like, outdoorsy sort of dates. Cody talks about in the date how he was like, "Oh, I forgot that I fell in love with Mary for her adventurous side," and she was like, "See, you remember that you loved me for things."
She's like, "Yeah, you did. You
True.
did." They showed Janelle the same kind of date, and Janelle also backs it up. She's like, "See, like, I felt loved. Our
Mhm.
love was just different. It evolved over time, which most marriage and love does. Like, sometimes you love people more later on than you did in the beginning or, vice versa, whatever." But then they go to Christine and Cody's paintball date. Cody, like, loves to flip this date around as to, well, look, we were acknowledging that we were struggling when really they were just sitting there saying, like, yeah, like we have our ups and downs and, we just find ways to make it work or whatever, like any other married couple would probably say. But Cody was like, see, we were acknowledging we were struggling and we had one good day. I'm like, bro, you just hate
I
this
know.
woman.
But Christine kind of has a similar thing. She's not as blunt about it, but she's like, "Yeah, that was a great day. We probably got along for a couple weeks after that." Like, it's just and it's so funny because you watch the clip there and they're like sweet with each other and she's all like, snuggled up to his chest like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm sorry. It's been such a hard year." And he's like consoling her and she's like, "Oh, yeah, that's I don't know, like you could have fooled me. I mean, you did, I guess."
Yeah, and he even says, like, his relationship with Christine is kind of built on, like, the joys of life, and that kind of reminds me of how David describes her as, like,
Yeah.
passionate, love life. So, obviously, that's something very endearing about Christine that I'm sure Cody loved. So, we can get past Cody trying to gaslight us all into saying he didn't love these people. He loved these people. I think low-key he still does, but he's just mad.
So then we
Yeah.
see Mary trying to work an iPad for like a couple of seconds and
She can't.
she cannot. It was a good little comic relief. We get to her scene where she's deciding about IVF and Cody ultimately in this scene cuz Mary asks him like how do you feel about it? And Cody tells her if it happened naturally I'd be ecstatic, but I don't really want to do the whole IVF route situation. Mary says that she was actually planning that day to tell him that she wanted to move forward with IVF and talks about how it took so long to get pregnant with their only child, Leon. I felt bad for her. It's just sad. I mean, they've never really been on the same page about things, but I also think and agree with them because now they look back and they're like, it probably was a good thing that we didn't have a child. Mary says, I don't know what life would look like right now if I had a teenager because based on how different Cody is with the different sets of kids, I don't know where my kid would fall because of how Cody feels about me. So she's basically in a roundabout way saying Cody treats the kids differently based on the way that he has a relationship with the mothers at the time, which we all
Mhm.
know, but Cody likes to deny. And then Cody essentially agrees in his part. He's like, I would feel bad for the child if we had a child at that time. But his reasoning is just that, like, their relationship was so unhealthy, but it's essentially saying the same thing, right? Cody tends to stay away from things that are difficult. He probably would have done the same thing with Mary. He probably would have no relationship at all with that child, and they probably would have
Right.
gotten divorced sooner. I don't think it would have helped anything at all.
What got me was they showed the 2 clips, right? One from 2012 where Cody seems to want to do IVF, where he was
Yeah.
on board with it. And then they
Mhm.
show the second scene from 2013 where he just changes his mind. What happened in that year between Cody and Mary? I get that the marriage fell apart, but it's just weird that from 1 year, his whole perception flipped to, oh, well, if it happened naturally, I'm not a fan of IVF. But the year before, you were totally gung ho to do IVF. And if Robyn, for some reason, couldn't conceive, you'd be in that IVF office.
Because the producer actually asked, because that's why they showed like the two different clips. And he said that from the time in Mexico, when they showed the first clip, to the time in Las Vegas, that he had essentially a realization that the marriage with Mary was unhealthy. I can kind of actually get behind that because, again, I just watched those episodes a couple of weeks ago, and that was around the time that they were building their houses together in the cul-de-sac. And Mary was not easy to deal with during that time. Honestly, Mary's relationship with Leon at that time, when Leon was living in the house and still very much like a teenager, Leon was like inconsolable about the fact that they couldn't get into these houses. And I can understand that that would be sad because they had this whole we wanted to get in before Christmas, and Mary was the only one that couldn't get in before Christmas. The reason for that was because Mary was the one that kept going in and changing things about the house. I want to do this. I want to add that. I need this. This is wrong. Blah, blah, blah. It's like Mary creates her own problems and then looks to Cody to fix them all the time. Cody's always put in a pinch trying to, please Mary. Even the builder commented on the relationship between Mary and Cody at the time. And he was like, I get the sense that Cody doesn't necessarily always agree with Mary. So I kind of get where he's coming from. I think that that time was really hard for them. Also, the parenting going on between Mary and Leon, I'm not going to judge it or say it was bad by any means because there's a lot of love, but I think Leon was like very much over dramatic because Mary gave Leon the power to like run that house essentially. And that's what Leon did with Leon's teenage emotions. It was a lot. Cody says that that is what happened between then and then. And then we get into the producer warns Christine before this clip, and the title on the bottom literally says Christine's jealousy. It gives a conversation between Christine and Robyn. Christine is kind of like apologizing to Robyn in this scene, and she's saying, any time that I was upset when you were joining the family, it was only that I was upset with Cody and I wasn't upset with you. And Robyn's response was like, couldn't tell. It's like, damn, Robyn, like a little sassy back then.
I wish we had that toot from her now. I love the little confessional afterwards where Christine was like, I'm going to be trusting Robyn from now on. Like, I know she's got my back. And then Robyn's like, I just love that she wants me to love her husband. Like, that's just the purest kind of love.
Magical.
Oh my gosh. I was like, girl, I'll take a few Oscars and a step back.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Christine talks in this part about how she realized when Robyn joined the family that there was obviously going to be some changes and that Robyn was like the new wife and also had a baby. So things were going to change as far as the schedule. And Christine said that she was happy in Vegas. She was getting closer to Robyn, closer to her kids. But then eventually she realized that things just weren't going to change when it came to the schedule, that he was going to stay at Robyn's house all the time. Again, this is where Christine talks more about how in therapy they talked about Cody being at Robyn's house too much and that Robyn pretty much would sit there and deny it and say, I don't know where Cody is either. I don't know what it is about Robyn, but she just looks up in the sky like this and she just lives in this other world up here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure that's what she was doing in therapy too. Cody says that jealousy is a vice, not an emotion that deserves respect. I feel like that's just one of those like religious, tropes. Like that's how they get all these people to be involved in polygamy and, not acknowledge the fact that it's difficult. It's difficult. People are allowed to feel jealous. That doesn't mean it's bad. If you all are willing adults and you consensually choose to be involved in something that gives you pain sometimes, you're allowed to do that. Like people get tattoos all the time. It hurts to get a tattoo, but you like the outcome. Like I could understand why people would choose it, but you have to acknowledge that there's pain involved. So I just don't like that.
Remember too, like Christine originally wanted to be a third and final wife, so she wasn't prepared to feel any type of jealousy.
She
She
wasn't.
picked her pecking order for a reason.
She did. She, like, had a destiny, she knew what she wanted, she went out and got that, and so I could see why she felt like a very confident person. She said what she wanted, she went out and got it, she thought she picked a family that was wonderful, and for a long time, it looks like it really was, so I could see why she was so secure. She had a really
Mhm.
valuable place in the family as the person who took care of all 117 children. Everyone else worked.
Yeah.
She liked that, that's what she wanted. Then we get into the catfishing situation with Mary, where Mary was talking to a woman who was pretending to be a man. Mary says that she was angry at Cody for not being there, so she started, making friends online and blah blah blah. That was her whole situation. And in the clip, she's really angry when she's talking to Cody at the person that she was talking to, and she ends up calling the person him, her, it. I'm not gonna, like, judge her or cancel her, but
It's
has learned.
because that person was first a man and then it was a woman, so now
Right.
she's like, "I don't even know what it was,"
Right,
whatever
and
the
she
case
was mad
was.
and she was confused, so,
Yeah.
like but yeah, I just let's not in 2024, I'm sure she's not calling people it's.
She's just very upset with the whole situation.
Yeah,
I agree with Cody on this whole front. Like, I'm sorry, I just
me
do. I
too.
agree with Cody. I think
Yeah,
Mary is living in some kind of delusion. She was seeking out a man. Like,
yeah,
that's why at first she was mad that it was a woman pretending to be a man. I don't think it was just about friendships. I think she was feeling
mhm,
neglected in her marriage and she was seeking out some type of emotional affair. I can't
yeah,
not think that that's true. Like, Mary can try to say whatever she wants. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But in my heart of hearts, I just can't help but agree with Cody on this. I think that Mary is just not taking accountability for that. And I think if she did, I think if she literally was to come up to them and from the beginning and been like, you know what, I messed up. I suck out a relationship outside of this one. Instead of trying to constantly spin it into, oh, well, it was a person and it was a friend, and then that friend was taking advantage of me. Instead of spinning herself into a whole victim, she perpetrated it to begin with by seeking out people outside of her marriage or her friendships or whatever. Like, it's not like she was meeting people at a book club and trying to be friends. It seems like she went on like dating apps or something, or wherever you go and meet people online. I don't know, remember exactly how she met the person, but obviously it seemed like she was seeking out a male connection, and not like a female connection like her friend Jen or anything. It seemed like she
yeah.
was seeking out a male connection to have some kind of emotional, if not affair with, and maybe possibly even leave the family. Like, I can totally see where everybody would think that she was probably planning to leave the family if this guy was legit.
Well, and
I
Cody
mean,
makes the point. He says she had an online affair, but she denies it now because she was the victim of catfishing, and I think that that's
mhm,
exactly right. That's the most concise way to say it because there's no way to know, but I'm pretty sure, I think we're all pretty sure if that guy was a guy and that relationship continued to blossom, she may have gotten up the courage to leave Cody. Things were bad. She told Cody in that scene, "I've been mad at you. I've been seeking out friendships." Call it a
mhm.
friendship, call it an online affair, call it whatever. You were emotionally stepping out of your relationship in an intentional way. The only reason that it stopped was because the person wasn't who they said they were.
And I mean, not saying that if they were who they said they were, it would have went all the way, but she still would have
Right.
delved deeper into it, I think. I think the reason why she came forward about it is because this person was threatening to out her. So she's like, well,
Mhm.
I might as well come forward with it. I'm not sure. She makes it seem like it's this huge, huge thing. I know people who've been catfished or whatever. Yes, it sucks, but she kind of makes it into this end all be all catalyst of her life and why her marriage is this way. And she blames it on, oh, well, they don't believe me about the catfish thing. I don't know. I just think that if that was a real person and you wouldn't have been catfished, like, what would you have been saying then? What would have been your reason then for stepping out of your marriage? I don't know. I agree with Cody. And if other chick chatters don't, I'm sorry, but I just do. I can't not agree with him on this because that drives me nuts too.
Well,
You
and
could
here's
have,
the thing, both things can be true. You can be a victim of catfishing. That's very true. That happened. That's a
mhm,
fact. She was a victim, but she also stepped outside of her marriage. Like Cody
yeah,
is right and also Mary is right. There it's not an excuse. Mary is a victim. That doesn't excuse what she did. If she was happy, she would have been talking to Cody.
right.
Instead, she was talking to people online.
But I get her frustration on Cody holding on to it, but at the same time, if your marriage was already falling apart and that's pretty much like almost the last communications you seem to have with him these days, other than a few random Rice Krispie dates, then I mean, what do you expect? Somebody feels cheated on. I mean, I understand that Cody has multiple wives, but that's because of you and your beliefs and stuff. I don't think you're allowed to go out and get him a brother husband on the low. I don't know how that works. And then after this, they start showing the
You're right.
family mission statement. But we didn't get
Mhm.
through it at all. They just started to show the clip, and then Robyn had a full-blown meltdown. I can't
Mhm.
watch. I can't watch. She's about to break this iPad trying to shut it
know.
off. How do I turn it off?
It is. It's insane. And it's so funny because in that little corner on the bottom, it pans everyone as they're watching like the family walk up and right before the mission statement starts going on. And everyone is like smiling and like, oh, how cute. And look at the kids and blah, blah, blah. Like it's a happy memory for them. And
Mhm.
Robyn is just having a breakdown. This is where Cody asks Tim, the
Yeah.
producer, is it okay if I just flip you off once in a while? I'm like, first of all, no. Second of all, is that not a question that you've heard a 9-year-old ask? Come on, you are a full grown man. You have your own autonomy. If you want to flip off your producer, boss, whatever, do it. You don't need to ask permission to be disrespectful. Give us something.
And the thing is how is it the producer's fault what your life choices were, sir? Like, those are clips of you. The producers are just showing you them. I get that you don't like the order or you don't want to see these clips, but this is your life. You decided to
I know.
broadcast it to us. You decided to let us talk about it.
Well, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing here.
Yeah, I guess, these are kind of cool little specials to get us through the holiday season, something for us all to talk about. So thanks for joining us, Chick Chatters. So yeah, we'll be with you guys through January with new content. And I know Anne and I are planning to do a couple of deep dives at some point as well.
Yeah. Whenever they stop giving us stuff to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. So stay
So
tuned, Chick Chatters and Sister Wives watchers. And if you're still just a Sister Wives watcher, maybe consider becoming a Chick Chatter. We would love to have you on our channel.
we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.